Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast, This Week in America. Our guest on today's This Week in America is Linhxuan, author of The Paradise Man, according to Thomas Merton. Since Adam and Eve left Eden, humanity has endured through long millennia of hardships and sufferings, especially death. But the hearts of their children and great-grandchildren have never given up hope that someday they could return to the place of happiness that once had been their inheritance. It's a legitimate and dignified dream. In fact, since the day Adam and Eve left, paradise has remained on earth, waiting for every single human child to return. Merton's paradise, in the last analysis, is on earth, but it's not just a spacious place. It was rather an attitude of heart, a state of consciousness, and a spiritual journey. Linhxuan, the author of The Paradise Man, according to Thomas Merton, by the way, NABA winner 2019 Pinnacle Book Achievement Award, best books in the category of spiritual. Ling is joining us on This Week in America. Ling, welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us.
Yes.
So much to talk about, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today. First of all, congratulations on the success of the book. Many more interesting things happening that we'll be talking about during the course of the program today. But give us a little bit of background. Introduce yourself to the audience. And tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yes, my name is Linhxuan. I am a Roman Catholic priest, and I am also a Cistercian monk. I graduated Master of Art in Theology in 1987 from the Dominican School of Theology and Philosophy in Berkeley, California. And my main community is Thiên Phước Áp Bi in Bãi Vũng Tàu City in Vietnam. For the last 1.5 years, my abbot appointed me to lead a new Cistercian monastery in Aptos, California, in the Diocese of Monterey. So I would like to greet all the audience of the radio program, This Week in America by Rick Bratton. Hi, everyone.
Well, it's great to have you with us from sunny California. I understand the weather is quite pleasant out there. So much to talk about. The time.
Beautiful.
Yeah, the time is going to go by so quickly. Now, the book has the title, The Paradise Man, according to Thomas Merton, published in 2016 by Ex Libris, 194 pages. What category do you put your book in? What does the book belong to? What category?
Well, I think that it could belong to various categories. You can call it spiritual, or you can call it Christian, book of religion, or fiction. Also could be a self-help or educational book for children and adults.
It crosses many categories, and we'll be giving you information where you can buy the book, the usual places. And if you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, you'll find out exactly where you can order the book. What group of readers do you hope your book addresses, that you'll reach out and connect with? What group of readers?
I think that there are two main groups. The first group is a fan of Thomas Merton. The Thomas Merton, he born 1915 and he died 1968 and was a well-known theologian of the 20th century. He wrote 60 books and also a bestseller author with his autobiography, The Seven-Story Mountain, published in 1948. And his books were translated into 15 languages. So my first aim in this big group of readers and fans of Thomas Merton, so they could read one more book written about their favorite author. And this book also aimed to introduce Thomas Merton to the young readers of our times. The second group of audience of this book is all Christians in the world and all readers of the Bible, because Paradise Man is nobody else than Adam, the first human being on earth. The character appears in the first book of the Bible, the Genesis. So this book investigates the important aspect of Adam's life which still have effects on every human person, his offspring. We hope that by reading this book, then my fellow human beings may find some growth in their spiritual life.
You talked about Adam. In the beginning, I talked about Adam and Eve. What precisely is the viewpoint on Adam and Eve, which your book would like to emphasize?
Often the readers, when they read Genesis, they read the story of creation and then follow with the fall of Adam and Eve about their disobedience by eating the forbidden apple. And God punished them and chased them out of the paradise. Often the reader do not pay attention to the period of the life of Adam and Eve before the fall. Yeah, that is the focus of our book. However, the period before the fall is in fact the happiest period of the couple's progenitor's life. It was also an ideal world where there was no sin and evil ever exist on earth. So when Adam and Eve live in a perfect unity with God, with a perfect unity with everything in creation, and perfect unity between themselves.
You know, it's interesting because most people could not tell you about Adam and Eve before the fall. So that's an interesting point and aspect of the book, The Paradise Man, according to Thomas Merton, by our guest on the program, Linhxuan. If you're going to Google that, that's Linhxuanvu. We'll have all that on our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and we'll give it to you again with Ling at the end of the program, so you please be ready for that information. You know, it's interesting as you go through the book and follow it, the book seems to be more than just a story about the past, isn't it?
Yes. The Paradise Man is not only the title for Adam and Eve, but Paradise Man also the title for you and me and all human, because the paradise was regained and the gate of paradise was reopened to all human offspring. The fire sword of angel cherubim was put away. The paradise is accessible again to all human beings. But many do not know about that and making themselves busy with their farm work and merchandise. So this great news was taught to us by the Desert Fathers. We also know that John Milton, an English poet, also wrote a long poem, Paradise Lost, in 1667, and the sequel poem, Paradise Regained, in 1671. So paradise is truly regained and by our Lord Jesus. Thomas Merton wrote that the monks dedicate their lives to silence and solitude in search for the experience of paradise as the hermits in ancient time. And but this statement inspired many men and gather in many monasteries to try to experience that paradise life. However, this book, The Paradise Man, this time in your hands, also bring one step further than that. Because it's claimed that the road of purification is for everyone, is for every soul, than just a privilege reserved for the hermits in the desert. Therefore, you can be any ordinary man walking in any road of life. But as soon as you achieve the purity of heart, then you possess paradise. You live in the paradise. So, in fact, paradise is there. But just with the pure spirit, then you begin to see that. Yeah.
Ling's book is The Paradise Man, according to Thomas Merton. This was an NABA winner 2019, the Pinnacle Book Achievement Award, best books in the category of spiritual. And we'll give you some information on where the book's available as we go through the program. It's interesting, Ling, as I look at the book trailer, you claim the experience of paradise today can be as fresh as the experience of paradise by Adam and Eve. Is that really true? Is that the case?
Yes, I think it can be true. because in ancient time in Eden Garden, our progenitors Adam and Eve sinned and were chased out of it. But all the plants and trees in nature have remained in their innocence from beginning until now. That is why they are all beautiful, radiant, and holy as ever. The people who make icons gave reason that why the wood and tree is used in painting icons, because they are innocent. They are worthy to carry the image, the sacred image on them. So I believe that not only the tree, but all natures, they are all still innocent from beginning until now. That's why we are now living in the paradise. I believe that except the question of morality is in the heart of human being, beside that, all nature still innocent, as fresh as beginning of creation. Now let's talk about light. The light coming from the sun make our new days. Are the light today own like the light of Adam? They are different, because the light given to Adam, they are gone already. And the light go and make in our new days here totally new for us, totally fresh. Not only about the light, but also, other like plants and trees. They are beautiful and smiling to us, showing the beauty. They are all new. They all belong to new generations. Human beings also they all new. That's why we can say that we live in a paradise as fresh as that of Adam and Eve.
How can one become a paradise person facing a world full of spiritual crisis? We see it everywhere around us. How can we become a paradise person?
It's true that we are living in a world full of spiritual crisis. Spiritual crisis at all kind of levels and by different causes, like material needs, like man versus machine, and technological progress causes the surplus problem. People die more by surplus food than by hunger. The technology also pushes the pace of life become too fast, that it makes us become almost like the robots, and that causes for our poor spiritual life and dry sentimental life. Our life is live more on the surface because everything just so quick. We do not have a time to sink down into the real life. However, the greatest spiritual crisis of the world today can be expressed in one word: egocentric.
Yes.
Egocentric. It is a tendency to make one's ego become the center of our own life and our own world, to the level that we almost worship ourselves, make ourselves God. When we reflect ourselves, we will find that ego, in fact, is not a true center of the world. Now, the proof is that when we die, then we see that the world still moves on. If we truly the center of the world, then when we die, the world should collapse with us. Then that we say that we are true center. But no, when we die, the world just move on, continue. They just ignore us. That is why that we and anybody who put themselves at the center of the world is really very wrong. And we spend so much of time and energy focus on that illusory center, and now, but unfortunately, that now in the world seems like our culture that everyone just try to live that way, put ourselves at the center and just try to do that. We can say that now in the world we have over 7 billion point 3 people. They are all on the Titanic ship, and all go and almost hit the iceberg. The iceberg that is, the egocentric, and the true value of that is just nothingness. So we are like all together on the ship and go by the very fast speed, go into that nothingness. that is why I think that is the most important crisis. However, Thomas Merton helped us for this, and the remedy is for the egocentricity is that the purity of heart. And it is the purity of heart also the key to open the paradise. And when we can, it can bring us out of the illusory world and put it back to the paradise.
You're listening to This Week in America. Our guest on the program is Linhxuan Vu, author of The Paradise Man, according to Thomas Merton. Your website, and I'll give this, it's linhxuanvu.com. Interesting website. And you'll let actually all of us read a letter from a film producer, Gina Graham Scott. And congratulations are in order. It looks like this is going to be made into a movie, and I can imagine this being a very powerful movie. How far is the realization of this to becoming a film, your book becoming a film?
Well, Miss Gina Graham Scott is a film producer, and she read the book, and she found it very interesting and could be very helpful for many people. So she wanted to make it into a documentary film. She let me release this information that she picked Rushmore Press to do the treatment and screenplay. And this literary company has made the first draft of the screenplay already and sent to Ginny and I. And both Ginny and I, we are satisfied with their work and approved the screenplay. And after some minor correction, it will be made into a film. And Ginny planned to participate at Cannes Film Festival in May this year with this film.
That's exciting. As we follow along what's happening over there, we will be sure to watch for the film adaptation of The Paradise Man. A couple minutes left in the program. We've talked a lot about Thomas Merton. How did you get to know him, and how did you come up with the title for the book, The Paradise Man?
Well, when I was 15, I began to join religious life. And that moment, and two books of Thomas Merton already translated into Vietnamese. And at that time, I was with the Dominican community. So from 15 years old, I began to got opportunity to read the line, of spirituality written by Thomas Merton. Well, I couldn't understand much as now I could understand, but at that moment I began to admire Thomas Merton very much. So when up to the point that when I come to Berkeley to study for a master degree, then I also choose to study in theology in spirituality. So I picked Thomas Merton because I know him since I was very young.
Yes.
That is how I know Thomas Merton, yeah. And you ask the question that why the title of the Paradise? Because when I choose Thomas Merton and make research, so I read many books of him. When I come to a very small article of him writing called The Recovery of Paradise, I find that this writing of him is almost like the framework of all the spiritual life. So I picked that as the main theme for my thesis, and I put all other books into that, and I make my thesis into the 4 chapters. The first chapter, I talk about the crisis of the world, or the crisis of the world, and find out that the crisis is that now that is the crisis. So come to the second chapter is that we try to find what is the true direction we need to do. So that the second chapter is that try to find the identity of the world and of our life, and try to make things in between the true self and the false self. And then after that, when we find the true self already, that go according to the theology of creation, that we only can find our true self in the will of God, because He is the person who created us. Only Him can give us a true answer for what the thing means. So follow that. then come to the third chapter is the desert part. That means we try to purify ourselves from whatever is not the truth, and follow that. So, and come to the fourth chapter is that when you finish all the purification already, then the paradise appear in front of you. So I after I do that the thesis, and then graduate from school, and many years later, when I put out the book, I read and I say, oh my God, it's so many beautiful ideas here of Thomas Merton. It would be a sin if I put the book back to the bookshelves, So then I think that now I have the duty to let everybody know about these trends, all these beautiful and important thoughts of Thomas Merton. So I use the fourth chapter of the thesis and make it into the book right now, and I call that the Paradise Man, meaning the searcher go all through the journey of spiritual journey, now already there in the paradise. But then, what is the life of a paradise man? What is the life in paradise? That is all expressed in this book, The Paradise Man.
The book, and we've got a minute or so left here. I'd like you to give me the information on websites, because you have several, where the book's available and the different formats and the cost for the book. So you've got our interest. Now tell us how we can find out more, starting with your websites. What are the two websites you have?
I have two websites. The first website go according to my name. So that is www.linhxuanvu.com. That's all together, LINHXUANVU.com. That's the first one. And the second one is www.theparadiseman.com.
Okay.
The first one, the Linhxuan.com, had more information. The second one, the Paradise Man, I need to update it, so still lack of some information. Yeah. And about the price of the book, that reader can buy. First, it's e-book is only $3.99. $3.99 the e-books, but in the other is the book in papers, and we have the paperback book. The price is $19.99, and the hardcover book is $29.99. I think that probably a reader should begin with the e-book first, and when you find that you are very interested in this book, then you buy there in paper, and then you can keep it in your library there and read it many times.
Yes, and I understand the book's available at a number of places. Where are some of the places they can get a copy of The Paradise Man?
Well, the reader can order online on the Amazon, and also Barnes and Noble, also in book Google, also in Exlibris.com, also on the booksamillion.com, booksapo.com, and also in Alibris, adlibris.com, RB Books, Kobo Books, Merton.org, eBay.com, fishpond.com, Bocus.com, Walmart.com. Well, that is, and some others online also. If you feel like you prefer which one, then you can order from them. Yeah.
And basically, wherever books are sold, and if you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, you'll be able to link on directly to Ling's website, get information, be able to order the book there as well. The book is The Paradise Man, according to Thomas Merton, by Linhxuan Vu. That's LINHXUANVU. Ling, it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Congratulations on the success of the book. Upcoming motion picture, documentary, looking forward to that as well. Thank you for sharing some time with us on the program today.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm so glad that I could have a chance to talk with you in these interviews and also to share with all the audience. I think that the message of Thomas Merton is really very helpful. I myself still reading that because I consider that his thoughts is my teacher. I still learn from him. So still every day, almost every day, I still read the message in that, try to learn from that, especially to experience more about the paradise in our daily life.
The book is The Paradise Man, according to Thomas Merton. You can link on to our website and get more information. You're listening to This Week in America, website thisweekinamerica.us. Back on today's program right after these messages.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, Associate Producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, Segment Producer. Ben Watson, Webmaster. Otto Bechet, Director of Engineering and TV Production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, Executive Producer of This Week in America.